Welcome to Igniting Inspired Insight, a space for real conversations with beautiful humans. I am your host, Jae, teacher, guide, and student of expanding and empowering energy and leading with love. In each short episode, we get to explore 3 questions that open the door to reflection, resonance, and revelation. One question I ask every guest, one they won't expect, and one they get to ask me, and maybe we reflect that back. This is a space for truth, trust, and the kind of insight that comes from simply being human. Let's begin. Today, I get to introduce you to a beautiful woman who I have met a few times and has actually just been on my retreat, which is so incredibly special. And plays in an area that is like just a wow area for me, which is numerology. And I feel like there's so much that we could learn from her. And she's really supported me in my business and looking at the energetics of that. And I'm sure we'll get into that. So I want to hand it over. But I'm really excited and honored to introduce Sandy. Welcome.
Hi,
I'm so glad to have you here. And I
thank
want
you
to
for
hand it
having
over
me.
to you. For those of you who are joining us on this episode, who is Sandy?
Who is Sandy? Um, a very driven, um, sometimes grumpy person who's trying to find her identity. And um, I want to be from so much love, but I'm real and I feel it sometimes. And so, yeah, I'm just a person who is just walking the path and trying to be the best person that I can. But yeah, I'm a mother of 3 great guys, married to a guy called Greg, and yeah, I'm always searching for myself through different modalities. So yeah, I think I'm quite interesting, if nothing else, because I'm always changing. But yeah, I like to think that I'm honest and real. Those things are important to me.
Mm, that must be why we connected so well. And that's why we're here, right? That's the purpose of this podcast and what possibly could come through with it. So thank you. And I'm excited in this space that you're in and in this truth that you're sharing for you to share with us the answer to this question, which is our common thread. What's one moment, belief, or experience that changed the way you see the world?
I have, there's been several sort of pivotal times in my life, but one in particular would be when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at that time, I thought I'd just, got there. I thought life was just humming along. I had these 3 kids that were doing well. My business was doing well. I was married. The kids were being educated at great schools. And, we had the nice house, the 2 cars, all of that, the dog. And yeah, I thought this was it. And then being diagnosed with breast cancer was just a real sort of like, wow, what is this all about? And I thought I'd go into that why me, but for some unreal reason, it wasn't like that. It was like, okay, right, this is happening. Um, I heard everything they said, I registered it, and I just took it on board. Okay, well, the next step is this is what we're going to do, da 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 da. Um, and it was just life changing. It was like a real smack to the head, really. It's like all the things that I thought were so important weren't important anymore. I remember, I really stressed the small stuff, worried about things, how many weeds were in the garden, having people over for lush dinner parties and stuff like that. And I thought that was all important, you know, what clothes you wore, what car you drove, all of that. And what I came to realize is that your health is really important. Your, you know, your the way that you show up in your body in this world. And yeah, it was an opportunity to really take time for me. You know, like I thought, you know, giving myself time was going off, and, you know, people used to say, oh, you have to nurture yourself, you have to be really kind to yourself. And I thought, oh, I do that. I buy nice clothes, I go shopping, go out for lunch, get my nails done, all of that sort of stuff. But what I realized that wasn't really it. It was, you know, it's all great. And I'm not saying that people that are into that are doing anything wrong, but it's just the surface. It's not really like nourishing yourself deep inside. And so what the breast cancer did for me was like it just sort of stopped everything, and it was a time to receive. I had so much love given to me. I had so much support from people, doctors, specialists, people that were so kind, nurses that would just wrap me in a big warm blanket and hug me. I had people bringing food. I had people looking after my kids. It was just a real time to receive, you know, and I love to give, but receiving in that way with kindness was just a real poof, you know, like a real overload. And so it enabled me to go within, just stop. And it gave me an excuse or a reason to say no, you know, no, I can't do that. No, we can't make that. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. And just it was just sort of like a reason to be there for me. You know, it's like my get out of jail free card, I called it. And yeah, and then, you know, 5 years later it reoccurred, and that was when it was like, wow, you know, that was when I sort of suffered, because it would, like, I'd made some changes, Jay, but, you know, like, you know, I was still doing similar things. You know, I hadn't really stopped, and I had a business with staff who were amazing, but I just found it was probably too much, you know, too much responsibility. And so yeah, so I had to sell my salon, and I had to stop being a hairdresser. I decided to stop being a hairdresser and just front up for me. And that was huge, because that was a, you know, a label that I'd put myself. It was Sandy the hairdresser. I can make people happy. I can change their state. I can change the outside of them. I can make them feel better about themselves. I can talk to them. I can be there for them. I can put everything aside so that I can be there for them. I could be so busy that I didn't have to look at myself. I could just fix everyone else's problems and not really look at me. I could be that voice, you know, I could move fast, go frantic, you know, just lots of noise. And yeah, the second time it was just sort of like I had this statement that if it's to be, it's up to me. And for things to change first, I must change. And so that would be the thing that I have to come back to. If it's for things to change first, I must change. It was something I learned a long time ago at a Money and You conference, and didn't really, you know, register what it really meant.
Yeah.
That,
It's funny how we pick these things up way back, and then something happens to us in our lives and then we really get it.
yeah.
Okay. And it feels like each time you experience that was a really different layer to the lesson.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. And, you know, what I was hearing in the beginning is like just how much, and I viewed this for myself and what you're sharing and in other people that I work with or just know, that often illness really brings us back home to our body. And as you said, like what's important, and that there's such medicine in caring for our body. And what we receive in reciprocity for that is usually a change in what's important, as you shared, and a different view. But then to see that, to have that come back to you again, that must have been a real test into what you thought you'd changed.
Yeah, it was, like it was, it was, you think that I've got it. Okay, I'll change this and I'll do that. But it was sort of like, you know what, you're sort of there, but you're not quite there. And it just stopped me in my tracks. It was like,
Yeah.
I had to change the way, I had to change the way I operated. And I remember going to a counselor, and and she just didn't get it. Like, she was talking about the salon and stuff like that, but I was like, it was my identity, and so I always say to my numerology clients, from what I've learned, and numerology sort of found me, because I was like, what is this all about? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? I always thought I'm supposed to be helping people. And when you've had cancer, you often want to give back. And like, the Cancer Society doesn't generally let you help until you're 2 years down the track, so that you've sort of in a good space and healed. And I kept thinking, what is it that I'm supposed to do? But I say to my clients that, Spirit doesn't give you anything for free. The universe doesn't give you anything for free. You have to work for it. You have to change. You have to evolve. You have to move. And it was sort of like, and the best way to get your attention is through your health, because it stops you, and you have to slow down, and you have to be with yourself. You can't get busy. You can't,
Agreed.
you can't race around doing things and disillusion yourself with distraction.
Yeah.
It's
And
front and center.
the other piece that you shared there was that deep lesson that a lot of people that are listening when they get ill is receiving help. They'll be nodding. They're like, yeah, that's the hardest part. But I honestly, I think that sometimes that's what, I don't know that it happens for a reason, but that's the deepest lesson when we first have a big injury or an illness where we have to have help, and we have to learn how to do that as a giver. It is one of the most challenging lessons to learn. But also then there's that understanding, right, that we're in, if we're a giver, the greatest gift we can give the people around us is allow them to help and to be in the
Yes,
receiving.
yeah.
It's so special.
That is true. Yeah, you see it all the time. Yeah. Because, like when when you're trying to be brave and courageous, you sort of, I tend to go, oh no, I can do this. I can do this by myself. No, it's all good. I've got this, And I remember when I was having radiation the second time, and I had these two ladies that were clients and friends, and they, I had two ladies the first time that did a little roster, two girlfriends, of bringing food and just checking in on me, and then the second time it was another two friends, and they just took turns at driving me to my appointments, because Greg was busy, and of course the husband has to take the load of the kids, and then there was the business as well and everything. And I just said, oh no, I can do it, it's all good. And they were like, no, well, it's not happening, and so they made me
That's beautiful.
let them pick up, and good job they did, because there was one day where I just took myself, and I had programmed in the journey to drive there. I got into the clinic, and I didn't even have radiation that day. And I just went in there, and I stood in the middle of the radiation clinic, and this nurse comes up and she goes, it's Sandy, isn't it? I said, yep. And she said, I don't think you've got an appointment today. I said, I need to talk to someone. And she goes, and I just broke down. So she
Yeah.
takes me off into this room. But I had just programmed myself to get there, but then there was nothing left afterwards. So I think it's really important for people, and it's such a gracious gift that those friends gave me to support me in that space. So yeah,
Absolutely.
taught me a lot.
Yeah. It makes me think of something I heard Simon Sinek say, and he talks a lot about relationships and connections. And he was talking about the fact that like true, deep, meaningful friendship is not when you let them lean on you, but it's when you let you lean on them. And I think it's just such a powerful thing to remind ourselves when we're trying to be independent.
Yeah. And it often comes from the people that you least expect.
Yep.
Like the friend that you think, will be there. Often they're not used to you being that person of need and
Yes.
vulnerable and everything. And so they don't know what to do with you. But it's these other people that come out of the woodwork that just step in and like guardian angels. And that just fascinates me as well. Yeah. Such a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm excited for this. So, second question in the moment, one you don't know. The question I have for you, Sandy, it's kind of in alignment with the first question, but may take us in a different direction. If your body could speak right now, what would it say?
Don't know if I could share that actually.
Well, I mean, you don't have to.
I think my body's in rage with me at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, I think it would say to me, come on, like, only an idiot keeps doing the same thing and expects a different result. Like, come on. Yeah, I think my body is grateful, like I try, but I get lost. I know what it wants, and then I just deviate off and I get caught up with the people around me and how they like to operate and eat. For me, I'm really passionate about food, and I think that what you eat is, effectively how you live, the life that you get to live. I'm passionate about that. But the thing is that we're also unique. And so my body needs something totally different from someone else.
Yep.
I feel it's talking to me, it needs constant exercise. In numerology, the numerology tells you what sort of health or what activities your body needs. And I'm a 28-10-1. And so that tells me that those numbers tell me that my body needs to be creative. And so in that creativity, it has to have security. And for security, it has to be a constant flow. And so the rage comes from these pockets of emotion and energy and creativity that aren't being sort of that aren't in flow. And so I need to walk a little bit more, like exercise daily, but put it at the beginning of the day, because I find that if I don't do that, it gets lost, and then it's sort of like, oh, I'll do that, and then there's something else and something else and something else. So yeah, it would just like to remind me that, getting up first thing, meditating, then going for a walk or whatever, doing some exercise, something vigorous is ideal for me. But otherwise, my body, it, I feel pretty lucky to have the body that I have. I'm quite mobile. I think it's, I think we have a good thing going on. I think we're friends.
I like that.
Yeah, I think we're friends. I think we're sort of we're like a marriage. Sometimes provoke each other, and yeah, and sometimes you're the best of friends. But yeah, I think we're okay.
I love that. And we can be many things, as you shared, like rather than getting, wow, there's some rage there, and then there's some friction, and then and that's so cool. I mean, added bonus to walking in the morning is you get to, with that sunlight, you get to start the natural melatonin cycle, which is really cool. But I really hear you on food and how, like, we really do. It doesn't mean that we need to eat completely different to everyone around us, but we do have different ways that nourish us, and that really lights me up. And that's when I feel like my body is happy with me, is when I'm eating what I need and what I'm like intuitively feeling is right for me. And that isn't always rigid or like calculated at all. Actually, it's very, very seldom is it that, but it's just intuitive of like, and balanced and fresh and whole as much as it can be. And I really thrive on that. And I think it's really special to have that relationship with your body and with food. And it just reminds me of the differences in life, and at times where I haven't been like that, and how different it's felt in the energy output, and how different it's felt in my choices, I guess, around that. and I think just understanding like that reciprocity as well, as like what we put in is what we get out. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, how can you expect to, like, I remember one time, I used to say to people, like, having clients getting their hair done, great audience if you're a chatterbox like me. And I used to say to them, like, if you're putting in, like, your blood cells renew every 4 months and completely, go through and get uh, refreshed. And so if we are putting in food that nourishes us, like fruits and veggies and things like that, well, then the new cells that are getting made are going to be made out of that product. But if you're just constantly eating bread and cheese and chocolate and, burgers and chips and low, well, for me, low density food, low energy food, then those cells are going to be made up from, those new cells are going to be made up from that. So it's like, do you want McDonald's body, or do you want fresh fruit and veggies high energy body? And so I used to talk about that, and it's interesting that I'm saying that today, because what you say and hear is what you need to hear yourself. And I go through these waves where I can be really diligent and really focused on that, and then something trips me up and then I'm off. And in numerology we talk about that as well. It's like everything that happens to you is all to bring you back to your path and purpose. And so when you shoot off in a different direction, there's a reason for that. There's maybe some information that you're going to collect, or there's something in that for you to bring you back to, path and purpose. So yeah, I feel like, but yeah, I feel like what we eat is what we are,
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. There's
Really
so much I
important.
could talk on with that, but so much. But I really love and appreciate that perspective, and completely agree. And especially with the flip side. And honestly, I want to share this because I don't say it very often, but it often baffles me that we live in a world where a majority of people, without judgment, a majority of people are spending most of their time eating foods that not only don't have any nutritional value, but are actually harmful. Like, to me, in the way that I live, that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. Like, we're working to buy food that isn't giving you anything. And again, it just doesn't make sense to me. But also, like, the healthier you get and the more you learn and thrive off your food, the more you feel when it isn't of service to you. And for me, it's oils, like bad oils and preservatives and additives and things that just literally, again, they don't have any benefit.
Yeah.
So why would I do that? And also, I mean, then again, the more you peel away those layers, they're not tasty to me.
No. And yeah, I like it brings me to, in life, and even as you evolve and doing what you do and the knowledge that you gain, and and then each each time you grow, you think, oh, damn it, I wish I didn't know that. I wish I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that sugar was bad for me, and I could just go back to living that ignorant sort of or life, in that space. Or I wish I didn't know that, that Coke isn't good for me, and you want to rewind the tape. And it
Yeah.
reminds me of when I found out that I had cancer. I just thought, if I just rewound my tape like 5 minutes 5 minutes ago, I didn't have cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
now I have. And
Mm.
so, yeah, sometimes we go through that where we just go back and just try, like, maybe it's not so bad after all. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're just little tests, aren't they? Just to sort
Yeah.
of give you a taste of. But what I find hard is when you think you're doing everything right, and and you're trying to be as good as possible, but there's still like this intermittent fault, or there's something that just is tap 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 tap, and you're still trying to find out what it is. And I guess there's a lot of us out there that comes up. You are trying, you are, but there's just something that you're not quite getting. So yeah.
Yeah. I get that. And I'm not perfect. Doesn't mean I don't ever eat anything like that, because I mean we're
Mm,
human. But
yeah.
it's all just, for me, it's not about necessarily right or wrong. It's just like the more I choose that way, the better I'll feel.
Yeah,
And when I
definitely.
go and enjoy that cake that someone made, I'm going to enjoy that cake that someone made. And it's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and the more you nourish your body, for me, this is how it works. The more I nourish my body and look after it, the better I can do the things that I love. So the better
Agreed.
I can, create, if I want to create something, or
Yep.
I'm just happier in myself.
Mm.
And so I feel more joyful and more positive. And yeah, it just makes such a difference, when you like after your retreat. Oh my God, the food was just stunning. I felt amazing. Um, yeah, it was so good. The food is so important. Yeah.
Hmm. It really is. Nourished with love.
Yeah. Nourished
Yeah.
with love. Yeah.
And I just keep coming back to, for myself, is like you get what you put in
Yep. Yeah,
with
the effort.
everything. Hmm.
And a lot of the eating healthy is all about preparation. It takes time.
Hmm.
You've got to make that conscious effort to get that stuff, have it available in your house,
Yep.
get rid of the other stuff in the cupboards. And I noticed that yeah, it just takes up more time, and so you have to be committed. You have to plug in, and that's where I think we get, preparation is key, and that's
Hmm.
where we get tripped up. We're not thinking ahead, and we're
Hmm.
just responding. So yeah, more. I need more of that. I need more. I'm hearing and saying this
Yeah, yeah.
because I
I
I
do
need
that too.
I need that focus.
Yeah. Set yourself up success.
Yeah,
Yes. Here we are already, third section, reflecting light. So Sandy, you have a question for me.
I do.
Mm.
Jay, how do you how does it work for you when you're trying to find that fine line between ego and domination, or drive, or like where's the what process do you have to sort of steer yourself um away from ego? Because I find that there's a fine line between the two, of
Hmm.
using your drive, your um masculinity to, um, I can't find the right word, but to not to dominate your actions, but to give you that, real, and sometimes the ego steps in, like, because you really
Mhm.
want something, you're really, um, you're really driven for it. But, like, where is that sort of happy place just on the inside so that you're not in your ego? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. How do I keep myself in? Well, I hear you. Ego's a very natural part of us. But I mean, the first thing I heard when you asked that was to come out of the head and into the heart.
Nice, yeah.
And then the next part was like, and I do this through prayer, through setting intention, through journaling. It's like just staying in tune with myself. So the next sort of piece to that answer would be to be operating with intention and presence, because I feel like the ego is the opposite of that. It's reactive, and it's coming from a part of you, another part of you that needs to prove or is triggered or is reacting,
Beautiful.
Um, so I think it's keeping the intention real. I was looking out the window because that's what I do when I think, but it's keeping that intention really clear. But also, the other thing that I think about is the ego is very much like all in the head, like trying to make sense for me, force, push, what could be better. Whereas when I step back from that and I'm present to my energy and my intention, then things flow through me. So it's not decided through a series of it's like it's intuitive.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's what really comes up for me. It doesn't mean that the ego's not present, and I'm checking in with that, and whether that's in the moment or if it's at the end of the day when I'm journaling, it's like what was frustrating or irritating, like where could I have done differently, and why did that show up that way? And that's like getting to know the ego, because sometimes the ego is just trying to protect us, right? It
Yep.
doesn't feel safe. So I think it's also being more compassionate with the ego and understanding it a little better. Like, why did it react that way?
Interesting.
And then we can be more in that intuitive, integral, intentional space.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think about the ego as being that, you know, um, thing almost that I don't want to be.
I can understand
And
that.
so when I'm in my ego, I'm driving it, I'm pushing it, I'm,
Mhm.
really forcing it. And so, yeah, I love what you said about really helpful. Like when you're in that space and you're unsure, like, is it my ego that's running the show? And you said, come into your heart. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great reminder. I love that.
Mhm.
I'll be using that. Yeah.
And that's something that comes into um my somewhere, comes from somewhere, but it's a reminder for myself often, especially when there's confusion or overwhelm, or I'm observing that I'm not acting the way I wish. It's like, come out of the I actually just had that happen on the walk, because I was like, I was getting caught up in some stuff, and I was like, whoa. Come out of the head, because the heart and the body, and when we're in our intention and our intuition, then we're really aligned with like who we are.
Mm,
Yeah. But I do think that a piece to that is getting to know the ego. It's like, what are you trying to keep
mm,
me safe from? Or what are you reacting to? Why? And if we could pull that apart a little bit with a beautiful, like, observation without judgment and comparison, we can actually get to know ourselves even better. And then
yes.
the ego can come with us, because sometimes it really is just trying to keep us safe. Mm,
Yeah.
beautiful, eh?
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. I'm going to
As is our journey. Whew.
unpack that. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So we could talk for days, you and I, and maybe we'll have to do this again. But what I wanted to do is, before we go, is to ask how people can connect with you. And before you share that, what I have experienced with Sandy, and she didn't remember, which I totally get because it was an expo and there's like heaps of us, but I met you like quite a few years ago in Arrowtown. You did a beautiful little reading for me. It was enough that I remembered you and your work. And then you booked my retreat, and I was like, I know you.
That was so
And
cool, wasn't it?
yeah, and since then I started with this really beautiful 30-minute frequency connection appointment that I had with you, and we did all of this online because I was up north. And then you did the rest of the numerology, I say the rest of the year for my business, and not just my business, but for myself. And it's been really a helpful anchor for me. I don't know if I've shared that with you, but to look at like the calendar month and look at where the energies are high or need to conserve and take care, or just being mindful, and even dates for like launching things or starting things. And it's been just really, really powerful. So I just wanted to share that with you and with those who are listening about numerology in your work, because I mean, I've always loved numbers, and even my alarms are like 222 and 525. It's like always. So really, your work just ignites me. So I wanted
Oh, thank you.
to ask you to share with those who are listening what you do and how they find you.
Yeah, uh, yeah, I'm so stoked that that's been useful for you. I like to use numerology as to find creative ways to use it to really support people. And I sort of feel like it's great to know your life path, and it's great to know what personal year you're in. So I started doing an appointment called the frequency shift, which is now a 45-minute appointment, and we just talk about your path and purpose and your the year, the energy, the theme of your year, so that you know that you're online with that, in line with that, and really utilizing it, the energy that's available to you, not pushing against it. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think more people should know that, like it seems a real no-brainer to me. And then I really love creating different things from the information that numerology provides. And so I have some personal year charts that you can buy hard copy, or and then I do these planners for people if they want them, and it's all handwritten because I feel like I could digitalize that. I digitalize the personal year cards and they get
Mm-hmm.
printed and that. But what I'm noticing that with where we are with AI and things like that, that real handwritten sort of in the moment, what's intuitively coming for that person is gold. It
It's
really
so
is
perfect. That's what I love about
something
my
that we don't
planners.
want to lose. And so I'm
Yeah.
really passionate about that. It looks a bit scruffy or a little bit, um, you know, uh, humanized, if you know what I
Mm.
mean. It's not perfect.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm really, I'm really passionate about that. And like, for an example, you can work out what the energy of your day is. And so for me, I'm a life path one. I'm in the 2 year. This month, October, is a 3 month for me. This day is an 11-2, a master number. And so that's all about sudden shocks and real electrical sort of energy, which is certainly what I experienced this morning. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it can just give you a heads up of like, oh yeah, or we can really work with that. I can plan ahead and utilize that energy, and I think that's what you're alluding to. So yeah, there's lots of different appointment types on my website. It's all done online.
Mm.
I do teach workshops sometimes, and I also teach numerology uh, as a group online. um, yeah, so my
Mm.
website's sandyatkins.numerologist.com, and you can find me on there. You can also find me on SEA, which is SEEA. It's a spiritual connector
Yeah.
for people looking for
Support.
spiritual
Mhm.
holistic practitioners to help them heal or move forward in their life. So yeah, either of those two places.
Amazing. And I'll put those links in the show notes for you.
Beautiful. Thank
Yay.
you so much.
Oh, that just thank you. It's I'm just so really grateful for the time, anytime that I get to spend with you. You're a light being, and it's amazing.
It
And
needs to happen more.
yes, we will. We will. And that, for those of you who are listening, that's it for today's inquiry. I hope it sparked something in you. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, you can connect with myself or Sandy. And again, those links will be below. But maybe it also connects or creates a conversation with someone around you and opens up a new space for a deeper connection. So until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep the flame alive. Thank you, Sandy.
Bye.